Many of you already know the Older Americans Act, which was established in 1965 alongside Social Security and Medicare, is the main, most comprehensive piece of legislation we have for serving the needs of older adults. In your packets, we've laid out some of the details of the Older Americans Act. I'm certainly not going to get into those today, but you can get an idea from looking at that how this very important piece of legislation keeps millions of older Americans healthy, independent, secure, and able to live in their homes as long as possible through programs like the Elder Nutrition Services that most people are familiar with, which provides meals in homes or group settings, or very critical programs like the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, which fights for the rights of older adults and seeks for quality of care for older adults in nursing homes or other care settings. But I think what's most important is to remember that since its enactment in 1965, the Act itself has changed and adapted to many of the changes in our nation's scope. And so in recent years you had the Family Caregiver Support Act, which was added to assist family caregivers. And that each time when we come around to a period of reauthorization, like we will when Congress takes up the Older Americans Act in 2011, we have this opportunity to say, you know, what's working, what hasn't been working, and sometimes to even establish a new section in the Act for new ideas. And so we at Age for Action see this as a critical opportunity, and that's why we're collecting this information. But the big question for us is, how can we make the Act better? How can we make it work better for today's older adults, or for the baby boomers that are coming along, as Senator Wofford mentioned, and for the whole nation? So we're here to listen to your ideas, and we have panels I think will provoke ideas and bring ideas out. And we want to say that when we say, you know, we want to hear your ideas, we're not saying that you need to know the exact language of the Older Americans Act or you know, have specific ideas about what's in a particular section or title, but really to think about how to translate your experience and expertise into ideas that can bring change, and that's what our facilitated work groups today will be about. The other thing about the Older Americans Act, and we noted this in the materials in your program, is that for the areas of interest to us today, work, service, lifelong learning, and leadership, these are not necessarily the parts of the Act that are the most developed. In fact, the things in these areas are pretty limited in scope, so that's why we really think this is an opportunity to push the Older Americans Act beyond serving critical needs of older adults, which is always extremely important, but we've reached a point where, as Harris has kind of outlined, that we're ready to talk about the potential of this time of life, so where are the policies that support this potential building in this very important age group? It's a tremendous untapped asset for us as a nation.